Hey YouTube, this is NJ4Wire5, and this would be like maybe a part 2 video of the A123 cells. In the previous video, I took apart one of the packs from Tom. I believe they're the 36 volt packs. They come with like 48 cells. What I've done is I've taken the pack and I've cut it into 3 separate groups. That way I have 4S 4-piece groups. It comes out to like a basic 12 volt battery. You know, it's actually 13.33 or something like that, 39. But I took those and I put them in a 12 volt cells. What else I did is I cleaned up the ends, both ends, so that I can put nickel strip on there. I also used Captain tape around it, and to make sure that the spacing stays correct, I put cardboard in between these in between the cells, so that the spacing matched up with the spacing of the stuff that's already nickel stripped. If they test correctly, I'll add a BMS. I have LifeP04 BMS 100 amp 150 amp boost. If everything tests okay, I'll BMS these, and then I'll add blue shrink wrap. But for now, people were having issues tab welding the A123 cells, and so far I've seen a video where Keith did a video and he used a K-weld and he didn't have no issues. It looked like he was getting pretty nice welds. I think using the K-weld, it all depends on your power. So if you're having issues with the K-weld, maybe hit Keith up. He might, you know, have some pointers. Some people don't understand why I created those posts, and the main reason why I create that post is because these are actually hard to weld to. They have like an aluminum exterior, and the top might be nickel plated steel, I believe. That's only if I'm reading the patent information wrong. I'll leave the patent information in the link below. It's some good read up on the A123s and what they're made of and how they're put together. Another misconception, as people were afraid to block these holes thinking that was the vent. That's not the vent, that's actually a fill hole. I thought it was a vent too. Apparently the vent is on this side and it's around this outer layer. I mean, like, there's like some kind of layer underneath here that I guess whenever it blows from the positive side. So the little hole can be soldered over, tab welded over. I believe the reason for the hole and the reason why they have the hole here is they don't fill it with the chemicals, the liquids that activate it until they decide to send out the battery. Then they use some kind of system where they, you know, put the fluids in there and then cap it off. So this is not the vent hole, so just a heads up. You find that information in the patent information too. So I'm going to start off with my Malectrics welder, and if for whatever reason the Malectrics welder doesn't weld, I'll resort to one of my MOT welders, and if that doesn't work, I'll go to my lunchbox battery tab welder. With the Malectrics, we'll start off with this battery. This is the recommended battery for the Malectrics. It's a Turnigy Nanotech 5000 milliamp 65 to 130C discharges, a brand new battery. It's charged and ready to go. If this battery doesn't do it, we'll take it back to the bigger battery I made out of the SPIM08 HPs. That one should have plenty of power. The board on here is 3.2, so it should be able to handle the power from the battery I built. So I guess the only thing we can do is let's figure out how to weld to one of these A123 cells. Hey, a lot of people are kind of wondering how to get this off without getting holes in there. I did it on a few of them. This is probably not the best bit to use. I probably should use maybe a grinding I don't know what those grinding little rocks are. I have a few of those, but I've been using this. And what I like to do is I grab it. Let me sit down. I grab it and I go right over the nub. And then after I grind them down a little bit, let me see if you guys can see that on camera. I grind it to where you can almost see that you're going to get past the nickel strip. Then I take a sharp pair of 10 snips and I roll it. Once I get that up with a sharp pair, these are my dull pair, but I have a sharp pair somewhere around here. I kind of just roll it. And it comes right off. And then once it comes off, if you look, all you're left with is the nubs. And again, I do not know where my sharp pair went. You take your tin snips and you just trim the nub. I gotta get a new pair. Okay, I found the sharp pair. Then you get the nub and you just kind of trim it. Once you trim it, I think these are dull too. I've been doing a lot of these lately. Once you trim that, you take your tool again and you just lightly go over it. Then you'll feel it's flush and there's no holes. It's a lot better with a grinding tool. This is not the tool you should actually use, but I just wanted to give you guys kind of a idea of how I did it. And then if you notice, there's no holes. And you do the same with the opposite side. And what I normally do is I cut these flush so that I'm not pulling on them to bend the metal up, because I don't want like bumpy metal. Because you know sometimes you guys will pull, you know, you'll pull off the nickel strip and it'll, like, I guess, mountain the tab. So I try to cut it flush, and then whenever I cut it flush, then I go back with my sharp tin snips, and I just, after I lightly knock down the top of the nickel strip, I'll just roll it with this and then clean it up with a die grinder. So yeah, that's pretty much how I did this one. Alright guys, so here we go. First time I've ever connected this. Had a little trouble sticking this in here. Hopefully I got all that connected correctly. I got a push button on here now. Let's see what happens. Three, 2, 3. Weld pulse duration. It's on auto pulse. Now it's on manual pulse. Right now it's set at 15 milliseconds. I'm assuming that's a good start. Top of the battery. Hopefully everything's connected correctly. Okay. Yeah. That was no issues whatsoever. Let's try again. That's 15, guys. Man. I'm gonna have to call that good. I can't rip that off. Let's try the back side. Alright guys, I don't know if you guys can see that, but these are good welds. They're not coming off. I was not expecting that right off the bat, guys. 15 milliseconds with the nanotech. Alright guys, and there you have it. It looks like 15 microseconds on the bottom, 20 microseconds on the top, and that's with the Nanotech 65130. Yeah, I'm quite surprised. Now I just want to go ahead and test this battery before I go any further on it. So what we're going to go ahead and do next is we'll go ahead and solder on the balance leads, and I'm just going to use clamps here and here for now until I decide to put the regular cable on there. Alright, now that I got the balance leads hooked up, I'm gonna go ahead and charge and then discharge this, see what kind of capacity I get before I add the BMS and all the other stuff. More than likely I'm gonna relocate this wire because I don't like not having, I like to have my balance cable sticking out a little bit further than just a couple of inches. I'm not gonna film this. You guys have seen discharge and recharge the batteries 100 times. So I'm going to go ahead and test this, and then I'll be right back with the capacity. Alright guys, as you can see, the Malectrics welder is working wonderful. I'm leaving it at 20. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to change any settings in there whatsoever. I'm pretty sure, I'm using a new camera, guys, so I don't know if you guys can see those welds, but those welds are nice and strong. They're leaving really good nuggets. I've got it set on 20 microseconds, and I'm using that 5000 milliamp Turnigy battery. It hasn't even really broke a sweat. I think it's like at 11.8 or something right now, and this is my second battery. I wasn't gonna like pain you guys into seeing me do all this stuff again, so what I did again is I added the cardboard in between everything so it stayed square, and then after I did that I taped it all across there. And now I'm going to throw balance leads on here, and then I'm going to test it. The other battery that I tested, it tested out at 10,245 milliamps. That's freaking awesome. Charge was 9,464 milliamps. So I would say those batteries are close to new. I checked the voltage just a while ago, and I had charged this battery like 3 or 4 days ago, and the voltage still is at 3.4 on each cell. It's pretty crazy. So thank you, Alarm Hookup. These batteries are basically brand new. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get this one testing, and then I'm gonna add the bus bars on the third one. I'm gonna add the balance wires, and then I'm gonna do the BMSs. Once I do the BMSs, well, I'm actually gonna make sure everything's got like Captain tape on it and stuff, so it's safe. And then once I get the Captain tape on it, the BMS on it, I'm going to put blue shrink wrap on it, and the battery should be complete. They're going to have a power cable and a charging cable, because that's the way the BMS is. And the BMS is balanced, and I believe it balances at 0.8. I'm not 100% sure. I'll leave that down in the bottom of the screen as I'm talking right now. So on to the next, I guess the next step. Alright YouTube, that's how I'm going to build these A123 12 volt packs. I'm not 100% sure how great these BMSs are. Before I even attempt to finish the other two, I'm going to go ahead and discharge and recharge this pack a couple times just to test out this BMS. I want to make sure that it can at least handle. In the description it says it's 100 amps, 150 amp burst. I highly doubt it. I bet it's 50 at the most, and I probably wouldn't ever go more than 20-30 amps with this. You don't want to go out there and try to start your car with this because you'll blow the FETs on your BMS. But what I plan on using for this, I think the machine that I use it for is only going to be taking 9 amps at the most. So this BMS should work perfectly. It's a balance. It only balances at 0.6. I think it's like 60 milliamps. Should be plenty for this. I noticed already that it started balancing. It's got pretty good cutoff and pretty good charge cutoff. I'll leave a link to the ones I purchased in the description. They used to have them here in the States, and it looks like he must have sold out here in the States, so now he's selling them in China, and it usually takes a good week or two to get here from Amazon. That's pretty much it. So I plan on building 3 of these, and then I'm hoping that these will fit into like this. I've got like this really high wattage boombox I plan on building here in a little while, and I plan on using 2 of these to power the thing on each side. So hopefully these are powerful enough for that amp. I believe that amp said that would only need at the most 3 amps. So I'm probably going to use I'll probably use these batteries plus a buck converter, or boost converter, and you guys will see that down the road. But I'm going to go ahead and test this now. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will check you guys out in my next video.